Once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, you are now tuned into the Investor Show. As always, it's your gracious host, Prince Dykes, coming to you guys and girls live from the beautiful city and state in the mile high city of Denver, Colorado. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, comment, and share button. And as always, I don't have a lot of time, and I definitely know you guys and girls don't have a lot of time, so we're going to jump straight into it. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, hit that like, comment, and share button. As you can see, we have a special guest in the building today to talk about financial literacy. We always talk about this topic. You guys and girls heard me talk about this a million times. But today we're talking about people who's making a change, who's not just talking about doing something, but who's actually doing something, who's a wealth of resources out there that's putting financial literacy in Colorado from K through 12. None other than the Economical Literacy Colorado CEO, Miss Amy Sherman. How you do? Amy, did I say it like that's Sherman?
Amy Sherman.
Sherman. Okay, got it. Got you. Amy Sherman. So how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So excited. Okay, definitely. So how was your day? How was your day today?
So far, so good.
Okay.
I've spent all day talking about financial literacy. So
Oh man.
I'm excited to be here to continue it.
I see you brought the big bags. You got all your stuff
I got
here.
my
You just
props.
all of you're just ready to go. So now, I know a lot of people like to do on podcasts. They love to talk about where people came from, how did they start, how did they get to the point they are today. I like to do it in reverse. I like to talk to where you are today. Then we'll draw down into who you are and then things like that. So now, Economical Literacy Colorado. What is that? What is that about? What do we got here?
We are a statewide nonprofit in Colorado, and we have a mission to make sure every student in Colorado learns crucial life skills of knowing economics and personal financial literacy. We do this through equipping the teachers in Colorado with the knowledge and the tools to go back and teach it in the classroom, and that's our daily mission.
Okay, nice. Now, when did you guys get started? How long did you guys get around?
Believe it or not, we've been around for 53 years.
53, yeah.
We started as the Colorado Council of Economic Education, which may sound like a government program, but it's a nonprofit 501c3. And so we rebranded it to Economic Literacy Colorado several years ago.
What was the original name again?
The Colorado Council of Economic Education.
Wow. Yeah, it does sound like it's state funding.
It
It's
does.
backing by the state. Now, to keep everything going, now that you changed the name to Economical Literacy Colorado, now, do you get state support or do people come in or is just you all on your own?
That's a fantastic question. No, we do not. We are funded by private sector, individual contributions, grants. So we are a 501c3 that is always looking for funding, and we do not get any state funding.
Now, why is this Dave Young? Why is this not like a state thing?
They, the treasurer's office and the AG's office, they do have some great programs for financial empowerment. But Colorado, it's not a graduation requirement to take economics and personal financial literacy. And so therefore, it's not a funded state mandate yet.
Oh, I like how she put in there yet. Okay. So now speak about that. The Colorado becoming state, what is it, 24?
26.
26.
So 25 states in the country have passed a graduation requirement for kids to graduate with personal financial literacy. And our partner in that is Next Gen Personal Finance. They are working within Colorado right now. We're doing a lot of groundwork this year to hopefully run a bill in 2025 to pass a graduation requirement in our state. So we would be the 26th state to pass that. So that's one of my big efforts this year.
Now, how can people help you support that, getting that economical literacy, not economical literacy, but financial and economical literacy into schools as a requirement?
That's a great question. So this year, there's a program called Jumpstart Colorado, and that is a coalition of all of the groups in economic and personal financial literacy space. And I'm the new chair of that organization.
Congratulations.
So thank you. So I'll be doing a lot of collaboration and coalition building. I'll be convening all of us in this space to talk about how we can work together to pass a graduation requirement next year. So there's a lot of coalition building between the banking community, the credit union community, the chambers of commerce and economic developments around the state. I haven't met one person who does not think this is a great
Good
idea.
Yeah.
So that this year will be a lot of convening of all of us.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. And like I was talking about earlier, so a lot of people don't know my story or where I came from and how did I start and how did I create the Global Children Financial Literacy Foundation and all of the good stuff like that. It was just me just seeing something I knew that was needed. Like I don't know, when I had my son Wesley, when I had him, I said something that need to be needed, and so I started writing children's books, and I just took the approach of I'm not going to wait for somebody else to do it. I'm going to do it myself, right? So now, Jumpstart Coalition, you're the new chair. Tell us what's your plans for Jumpstart Coalition.
So first, I'm going to make sure everyone's invited to have a seat at the table
Okay.
that cares about this issue, personal financial literacy in Colorado. And we're going to all get together and we're going to start discussing ways that we can collaborate, things we can do to share resources, things we can do to support each other. I know you have a book launch and I'll be there.
Yeah, I'll
And,
do-
you know, we just need to share what we're doing and not work in silos and all be at the table and then come up with ways that we can work together and be a bigger force.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. April 12th, we're launching the fourth book in the series. Wesley learns about real estate. They're at the Denver Broncos Boys and Girls Club there with Terrell Davis. He's a character again in our fourth book series, and we're going to be giving out some stocks there too. We're going to be giving out some stocks to kids because his kids is going through the book club now. They're going to be reading each one of the books, and the Broncos Boys and Girls Club is the last stop of the day. We're going to be at two schools before that, then the Broncos Boys and Girls Club. It's like you can have some bouncy houses and stuff like that for kids and stuff like that or whatever. So now, once this becomes, because it's going to happen, I'm almost certain,
is.
like you said, a million times before, it's going to happen. People are going to get behind it. People are going to make things. How do you see that space, the financial literacy space, shaping going forward? Like once this does it, because a lot right now it's like the wild wild west. You have an idea, I have an idea, I have a product. I partner with this school, you're partnering with that school, you're partnering with all the school, whatever. Everybody's kind of like in their own little space and world and collaborate with people they may know. How do you see once this thing become, once this thing start to shape up? What do you see the future on that is?
Well, the good news is Economic Literacy Colorado is already working really well. We have the resources for the teachers. And in Colorado, we have 180 school districts, public school districts, and about a quarter of them already have chosen to have a graduation requirement on their own. And Colorado is a local control state, so the school boards have already made that decision. And so the teachers that already have to teach it, they use us to help them with curriculum and classroom materials. So we'll just be a bigger resource for all the teachers that need us out there. So I just anticipate that we'll grow and we'll provide the resources for the teachers when they need it, and like we've been doing all along.
Okay, so now what has been economical literacy Colorado? I always love to ask this question, especially to CEOs. What has been some of your struggles?
So honestly, I think it's just figuring out who is in this space and what they do well. I've been here 1 year, so I've just been drinking from a fire hose and learning what everyone does and how we can work together. And, I spend time with Junior Achievement and Young Ameritown and figure out like, okay, this is what you guys do and what you do well.
What's his name? They got a new CEO over there.
Dustin Savonic is the new CEO.
And he's a city councilman, I think, too.
In Aurora.
In Aurora, yeah. That's what it was. I knew Rich Martinez was the CEO there for a while. And my councilman connected us to speak with them. I haven't met Dustin, isn't it?
Dustin Savonic, yep.
Yeah, Dustin. I haven't seen him yet. But yeah, that's great. Young Americans, big museum, all of the good stuff they have downtown, the initiatives. And so you see right now, just getting to know all the players and who's who.
So I get to know all of them and then share what we're doing. And what we do really well is professional development. And we have courses every week and 1 hour Saturdays, week-long courses for our teachers. and they're accredited through our university systems. We vet all the professors that are instructing our teachers. So what I know is we do professional development the best, and that's what we are really good at. And the others do an awesome job as well, and we all need to work together.
Okay, so so what would be your dream for economic literacy Colorado? What would it be like, man? So you could rest your laurels on and say, hey, you know what, we've done it.
I would be like at some picnic in 15 years and be talking to somebody, and they would say, I remember Economic Literacy Colorado when they passed a graduation requirement, and I took a financial literacy course and I majored in finance, and now I am the director of finance for XYZ business. Thank you for introducing me to jobs in finance and knowing how to manage my money. And I will be like, yes, success.
Now let me ask you this question. What do you think about this, right? One of our initiatives is to turn kids into first-time shareholders of stock, right? So what do you think about that initiative where kids walk into kindergarten, they have investment accounts?
Yeah, I love it. And, I think we are working with a lot of different youth groups and groups around Colorado that start as early as kindergarten teaching concepts. And whether it's about budgeting or investments, I was at one event, the finance camp in the Roaring Fork Valley recently, and all the students that came to this amazing event in the community, Charles Schwab was there opening accounts for them with their parents. And then they got some funding for it for just being at that event. Now, I mean, if we did this all over the state together, we just get kids younger and younger to open accounts, and they would understand their compound interest.
And the thing I saw with that was America is a very lineage-based system when it comes down to finances, meaning that people, it all depends on where you grow up at.
For
if
sure.
you're on this side of the track, or you're on this side of the track, and you got a grandma that has money and has the wherewithal to go invest for you, good for you. But if you are illegal, or parents got a sketchy background, or parents got other things going on, then it's like, hey, we could talk until we're blue in the face. You don't have anything. So that was one of the big things that I saw, like, hey, we can make this thing tangible, turn kids into first-time shareholders of stock, things like that. So what do you think about that system that's kind of lineage based now? Like, hey, hopefully your parents, because we've spent a good bit where we'll go in and the parents just won't open up the investment account.
Well, I think financial literacy is a whole ecosystem, and there's a piece of it that's foundational that a lot of kids don't get. And like in my case, I grew up in an affluent suburb community with a mother that was a banker. I mean, I was just so blessed to get the knowledge that I got at a young age, where that doesn't happen to all kids in every community. And so, like, one initiative we have in our strategic plan is to turn out some of our products into Spanish. And so we're working with a bank that has a multicultural team to look at all of our materials and look at like what different cultures, how they learn about finances, who they trust, what kinds of banking they do, and so that we can meet them where they are and start working with them. And a lot of times the kids are translating for the parents too. So it's really important to start working with kids in kindergarten on all these financial concepts. But you're exactly right. It is that where you grew up is a big deal.
It's a big deal. I'm like, and this is the thing we're known for. So how, and I've seen it. I've seen some kids who awesome child goes through everything, but the parent may not have the wherewithal or I don't know, maybe the bandwidth, maybe they got too much going on with life. They don't follow through with it, right? But I've seen other kids say, oh yeah, my parents did this for me and good to go, right? So now going into, how do you think Colorado compares to other states when it comes down to financial literacy?
Well, I think we're fortunate. We have a lot of people in this space, and we have some great nonprofits like Economic Literacy Colorado.
Yeah.
But we have been around for 53 years, and so we have worked with thousands and thousands of teachers a year. I think we're about at 1,800 teachers just this year. So we know our impact over our 53 years has been, 60,000 teachers have gone through our programs, and that in turn is just millions of kids. So I think Colorado is one of the better states for working with the nonprofit community to teach these concepts, whether it's, young Ameritown or getting a job and learning about your paycheck and making a budget, or working through the teachers. So we have some experiential things kids can do, like go to the JA and experience a field trip that day, have businesses in your classrooms. I think Colorado does a pretty good job. Once we pass a graduation requirement, I think
Now,
we will be A plus.
once this graduation requirement passes, now would that open up to like state funding, getting behind it? Does that open that up, or is that just kind
I
of
hope so. I mean, if you're going to have a state mandate, you would hope that it is funded.
Yeah, it
You know,
should be. Yeah.
yeah.
To say, hey, now that we're going to do this, and now that it's a requirement to the schools, and I think I can see that whole space opening up to where, like I always tell people, it's not a good thing when only one person is doing something, only two people. You look at a genre music like hip hop. If there's only one person doing it, it wouldn't become a genre music.
Right.
So but if it's many people with different flavors, different this or whatever, you create a whole genre music that opens up the door for everybody to come in and get whatever flavor they want to do.
Right.
So now, when you look at the kickback and the pushback, are we sitting here in 2023 when you have people that's been
2024.
oh my
Happy New Year.
oh man 2024, and we are known for we have so many people we know this should be done. School teachers, there's been school teachers for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, financial professionals. Why now all of a sudden light bulb go ding, we should teach kids this?
Well, teachers have a lot on their plates. I think we know this. It's really hard to be a teacher. You have a lot of state testing you have to do. You have a lot of subject matters. And a lot of our school districts and that are outside of the metro area, one teacher may teach a couple different subjects. So we're adding something to their plate. That's why it should be a funded mandate so that they have the resources to add to their staff and train someone to teach financial literacy. So, I think it's just adding to what teachers already have to do. It's a challenge for them to, teach all these kids so many important things. Of course, we think financial literacy is the most important thing, but there are a lot of other topics that are very important too.
Well, to me, I don't know. Maybe I'm biased, but I feel like financial literacy. I'm like, hey, it doesn't matter what you become in life. You will need to be familiar with the topics of investing, credit, insurance, real estate, taxes. You're going to experience it.
All of it.
So why wait? And like, hey, hopefully you figure this thing out. Hopefully you get this together, stuff like that. So, yeah. So that's me. I always put it at the top. I think it's, when we look at it in America, but I'm glad to see the conversation has shifted and the conversation has, kind of start to happen. But once it becomes a, state regulated, I know it's bound to happen eventually. Now, what's going to happen with, economic literacy Colorado? Are you going to still teach the teachers? Or?
Absolutely. And we'll just add to our programming so that we have the capacity to work with even more teachers. So we'll just grow our lesson plans and our courses for our teachers.
So you guys right now are relied upon the private sector to teach financial literacy to kids, essentially.
No, we rely on accredited university professors to vet our instructors to make sure that they are getting through to the teachers and the teachers are getting the credit they need to move up on their pay scale, because they get continuing education credit to come. We rely on the private sector to help fund us because we make sure that teachers can come to our classes for low or no cost. So a lot of times we're giving them stipends to attend, or gift cards, Amazon gift cards so they can buy things for their classroom or something for themselves. So a lot of times we're giving them stipends or gift cards to attend our courses.
I always look at it as like, this is a state thing. We all know it's good. We all know it's fine. But then again, I just felt like, I don't think it all should be the government, but I think, the government should definitely be
Well, eating broccoli is good for us too, but we don't always do it, right?
That
We
is
know what's good
what's
for
good,
us.
but we don't do what's good for us. Okay. Well, now, is there anything that you've seen like it's like, I don't know, potential roadblocks? What's some roadblocks you've seen coming into this industry that you're like, oh man, you know, that you've seen so far? You're like, okay, well, why is it this? Things like that.
I think that grants are getting more competitive. There's a lot of other issues in Colorado and our country that are competing
What do you
for
say
grant
issues?
money issues.
Oh,
Yeah,
like
like
other
other nonprofits,
causes.
other causes that we have to compete with for grant money. So, um, we work with all the kids in Colorado, not just a
Just one
specific demographic or
group.
socioeconomic level, all kids. So sometimes that's harder to just have a grant that applies to all kids in Colorado instead of something very specific.
Let me
So
guess.
that's a
Like they like
challenge.
to say, hey, if you say I focus on the girls that are disadvantaged in Colorado, it's like, oh, Bing, we want to go to them. That's what you kind of thinking.
Yeah.
When you kind of like narrow it down, they're like, hey, this would be a good thing.
Hmm.
So you're saying like the grants is kind of becoming more competitive
Yeah.
to get into things like that.
It's harder to find funding that is kind of an overall helps all the kids of Colorado versus one specific segment.
How can a nonprofit get to a point to where it doesn't need funding?
I know, right? I mean, nonprofits do such great work across Colorado, and all the job openings on the Colorado Nonprofit Association are for development directors or fundraisers or grant writers. It's hard to go out there and write grants and raise money. And a lot of our financial institutions, they're getting asked for money from every nonprofit. So, you know, just like I came from, and you may get into this, but my background's in Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development, which is a membership organization. And so if you take like a specific bank that's statewide, they get asked to join every Chamber of Commerce in the state of Colorado. And that's really difficult. But every nonprofit saying like, hey, can you fund our program? And so it's just fundraising's hard.
Well, this is my opinion with it is first, there's an illusion of money, right?
Right.
So every time you turn around, you see every company market themselves of community. We're giving back to the community. We're doing it to the community. So every person with an idea has this illusion that, hey, you want to help me too.
Right.
Right. So people get into a space thinking that you have this illusion of just money. Plus they look at, I don't know, corporation, corporate earnings come out and this company earned, I don't know, whatever, billions of dollars. So everybody thinks that, oh, you have billions of dollars. So you're saying that this is your mission. This is important to you. I should reach out to this person, right? And that person has the same exact causes that are going on that
Right.
are great or whatever, new causes that come up, old causes. And it gives this illusion to people who go into that space that think that, oh, you got city, state, and local grants, and you got federal grants, and you got this and that. So people have, you got the private sector. Pepsi is doing this and that. And I think it gives this illusion that people go behind something that they never realize that, wow, this is not easy. And this is harder than what I expected, especially when you got to rely upon that,
Right.
when you're like, hey, next year, what am I going to do? And the next project and the next and the next and the next and the next. So I think, you're right. You're right. I don't know what you have to say about that. Looking at that space of the illusion of funding,
Right.
because everybody seems like it's America. We got
Right.
trillions of dollars, but
And a lot of our corporate partners, they create pillars in their foundations to say, these are the 4 things we're going to focus on. So we need to find the partners that have the foundational pillar for economic mobility or economic literacy. So we do go through all of those corporate social responsibility guidelines and see if we're a fit. Is it just more difficult to find your partners because people care about a lot of stuff.
it's a lot going on. You have a cup of water, but you only could. It's the same thing in the investing world. Like even on my day job, some people come in and they have different investments or whatever. but you only have so many people you can go to, or different places you can put money, and so many people want to raise money, right? If they want to raise money for profits or nonprofits, and even if I had clients that are looking to get in a particular space that have, that becomes difficult. So,
Well, think about like kids need to have a full belly to be able to do homework. They need a roof over their head. They need to feel safe. They need stability. There's so many things that kids need to be able to like learn just on a normal day. And all of those are from a nonprofit community, whether it's food banks or, you know, building houses. There's so many things in that pyramid that kids need. And so we're just a piece of that puzzle, but they can't learn unless unless they aren't hungry and they aren't tired.
now, going forward, as you see that, what are some of the ways I guess combat that, or focus that problem, that issue? I guess what are some ways you look at it and say, hey, you know what, this is the way we're going to overcome this?
So it's not that we just stay in our lane, but we know what we're good at and what we can impact. And so when we say we've impacted 5 million kids in Colorado, it's through the programs that we have. And so we can't solve all the problems, but we can really work on this, and we can work on it from K through 12 and do specific programs for the teachers and for the students and do it really well. So that's what our focus is, to, stick with our mission, stay the course, and just keep doing our job well.
Now, when you look at it, right, you took over Economical Literacy Colorado, what, a year ago? What was life before that?
So I had kids at home before that. Now I'm an empty nester. No.
How many kids? How many kids?
All seriousness, I have boy-girl twins.
Oh, wow.
And they are sophomores in college.
So you had two sets of twins?
No, I had one set of twins.
Oh, boy, girl. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you had like two. I'm like, wow.
Oh.
You had two girls?
Thank goodness, no.
Nice.
One set of twins. But I was always in nonprofit management, and I worked in the metro area running chambers of commerce and economic developments as the CEO for the last 25 years. So did 10 years in Jefferson County and 10 years in Douglas County. And then when my kids left for college and my husband was changing jobs, he retired from the state of Colorado and was going in the private sector. I thought maybe I'd be like the constant in our family that year. And then I saw this job on LinkedIn, and I was like, this is the best mission of any nonprofit out there. I really want to do this. And mostly because I had a mother that was a banker, and I thought if every kid had the opportunity that I had, the world would be a better place. And so I decided to make a change too. And so the whole family changed in 1 year, and we're all thriving.
And 1 year, so before here, you said, which Chamber of Commerce?
So I was West Metro in Jefferson County for 10 years, and then Northwest Douglas County Chamber and Economic
So you know
Development.
the Chamber of Commerce pretty well.
I do, and I sit on the Colorado Chamber of Commerce board still to this day. Yeah.
Nice. So the Chamber of Commerce, tell us about that. What got you into the Chamber of Commerce and to chamber your way on up to the state level?
Oh,
and
goodness.
stuff like
A lot
that?
of people fall into it, but I think I was kind of born into it. My mother, the banker, was on the board of directors at the Chamber of Commerce in Castle Rock when I was growing up. And she suggested I get an afternoon job at the chamber selling maps. So I worked at the chamber in the afternoons, and, people would come in and ask about Castle Rock. And then when I went to college, University of Kansas and Lawrence, Kansas, I worked at the chamber there too. And then when I moved back to Colorado, I worked at the Longmont Chamber, and then I just kept going in this chamber business. And it just, nonprofit management is near and dear to my heart. I love board development. I love staff development. I love being out in the community and being a community leader at the table. But I also love to help small business owners thrive and figure out ways to succeed. And then as part of the economic development, it was attracting new business to your community so that you have good jobs where you live and you're not commuting 2 hours to a good job. So it's just such an important piece of our economy to help small business
You know what? And
thrive.
I want to, I want you to tell this because we had a conversation. I don't know if you remember when I was up at the office, right? And I was talking to you about the Chamber of Commerce, and I forgot who told me. Maybe it was Debbie, but somebody told me to talk to you about the chamber. Just like, hey, you can talk to Amy about Chamber of Commerce. And I remember telling you, I was like, well, I'm not going to say all of it here, but I remember asking you about joining the chamber,
Yes.
right? And you was like, hey, you should definitely, join this chamber or join this chamber. I said, well, I don't know. Should you do 2 chambers, 3 chambers, into 1 chamber? But what is the Chamber of Commerce? Because many people, they don't know what the Chamber of Commerce is. So what is the Chamber of Commerce for people? And I guess what would be the benefit of joining the chamber?
Yeah, it's a community in every town in America that works on bringing tourism dollars to their town, works on bringing new business to their town, and helps all the businesses that are already there succeed. So everybody that's involved in a chamber of commerce is part of a community, which is really important for humans to be a part of. And also it helps you get the education to run a business. So chambers have classes like on marketing or the new forms you need to fill out that the state passed for regulations. They have government affairs groups that work on pro-business legislation, and they have amazing networking events.
Yeah.
And I have seen pictures of you at this specific chamber, the Aurora Chamber,
Yeah.
doing your networking, and you just grow your network, and then your nonprofit or business thrives more. And so when someone says, Amy, what restaurant should I go to in Castle Rock? I will look at the chamber directory and say, these are the ones you should go to and support them because they're members of their local chamber of commerce.
And what does that say about a business when it joins this Chamber of Commerce?
It gives them like a Better Business Bureau type sticker, like we are good business owners. We work hard. It gives them a level of like a certificate of being a good business kind of thing, because they are trusted and they work within the community. They work with local government officials. They're part of the team to make the town a success, an economic success, and have jobs.
Okay. Now, when you're looking at your, definitely, you was telling me about it, and I did get involved with my chamber because I was familiar with them, but I was still in the military at the time. I said, well, I can't do everything that I want to do, while I'm in the military. I wait till I retire, then I'll look into get into the chambers even more. So you kind of was bred into the Chamber of Commerce, and now I got to go a little bit further. Who was Amy in high school?
Well, I was the manager of the football team.
What?
Yes, I was.
So you had all the equipment and all of the water bottles,
tighten the helmets,
tighten the helmets,
give out some water.
Nice.
I am the one that still organizes all the high school reunions.
Oh, wow.
I was always a convener of people in my high school, and that's where I started volunteering. And my husband and I have always been big volunteers in the community.
Was he a football player?
Nonprofits. No.
Okay.
No, there's just like, whatever you're passionate about.
I didn't ask you. Yeah. In Colorado, right? You're from Colorado?
Douglas. I grew up in Castle Rock.
Oh, Castle Rock. Okay.
Yep.
So he's in Castle Rock. You was in high school. You were the manager of the football team.
Yeah.
And you also was, I guess start off with the chamber, like you said, selling maps,
After
right?
school job. Yep.
Okay. Now, was you guys high school sweethearts?
No, we met on spring break in South Padre Island, Texas, during college. Yes, he went. My husband went to CU Boulder, and I was at KU.
Okay, and KU, and what'd you go to school for?
I went to school to become a pharmacist, and after my first semester, my dad said, "I don't know if you are." Into chemistry like you think you are based on your grades. And I said, and I think I'm more of a people person, Dad. So I majored in communications.
Communications.
And I have a second major in psychology as well.
Psychology and communications. Okay. And now you go back to, even younger, right? I would say like, middle school and elementary. Who was Amy at that time?
Well, I just was the girl that always got the talks too much on her report
Talks
card.
too much.
because I am a pretty big extrovert, and I will talk to any person, stranger, and I just love to get to know people. So I did get in trouble for talking a little bit, but I think it was just like the person that was friends with everybody in the school, and not in a popularity way, but just a kind person way. And I didn't believe in cliques or being part of one specific group. So I was friends with
So
everybody.
you floated around. And that says a lot about who you became. Because that's the chamber. You gotta get in there. You gotta float around. You gotta meet different people. And you told me so. You gave me some great advice when you said, "Hey, the chamber is almost like a gym membership. You gotta use it.
Right.
You can't join the chamber and say, man, this chamber didn't do anything for me,' because you have to like really get involved
Right.
with your particular chamber.
Right.
So now, what is the difference between a good chamber and a bad chamber?
Yeah. I think the good chambers are looking at things that are happening in our country and trying to solve big problems like affordable housing and workforce development and what's happening in the community that could be halting economic mobility for people. So the good chambers are bringing everyone to the table to solve big issues. Chambers that aren't moving forward, they're still looking at how chambers were in the 50s and just, having a networking function once a month and not looking at the bigger problems.
Oh, okay. So you say the old school way was just like, hey, this is the good old boys
Right.
club.
Right.
We come in, we hang out, we do business with each other. We have a little function, and that's it.
Yeah, in the old days, some of the males that would run the chambers would just go to coffee in the afternoon and talk about, the world's problems. But today's chambers are at the table for all the big deals in business attraction, but also the big challenges in a community. And if you think about like Aurora Chamber, they have a great military
Yeah.
council, and they worked very closely with Colorado Springs Chamber and Economic Development and created a coalition to keep Space Force in Colorado Springs. Like they made sure to keep that in Colorado instead of Alabama and worked on all the coalition.
They fought pretty
because
hard,
it was
too.
good for Colorado and those jobs are important to Colorado. So they work together to solve big issues.
I don't think people know how much a military base changes the economics of an area.
It's huge.
I remember growing up in Augusta, Georgia, in Waynesboro, Georgia, small town. We used to drive up to Augusta, Georgia, and I used to think to myself all the time, man, why is this area so, it's so vibrant, right? And it wasn't until I left for the military and traveled the world, and I understood how having a military base does so much. For prime example, you take Buckley out in Aurora. That was a small reserve Air Force base when I got here. It's since turned into a Space Force base. Now, with the space mission, stuff like that. And you're seeing how many new people are coming, how the building is expanding. And we were running out of desks, we're running out of chairs, right? But when the military people come to town, they buy houses, they go to restaurants, they go to the football game, they go to the basketball game. Now, one thing I haven't seen, and maybe I just haven't seen, but the sports franchises in the city, Denver's a sports town. We got every pro sport. What chamber are they in?
Those are primarily members of the Denver Chamber. Our major sports. Yep.
Okay. Well, now, what about the state chamber? It's a state chamber too, right?
The Colorado Chamber of Commerce, they are working on legislative issues that impact our entire state. They're
Okay.
more of a legislative advocacy group that really, they're working at the Capitol for 14 hours a day right now, watching every piece of legislation to see if it hurts or helps business. And then they're working on that and they're communicating that back to the business community. And Denver Chamber and Visit Denver, they're very involved in all the sports because that brings a lot of tourism dollars. I mean, military is a huge economic impact in our state and every place that we have a military base. And so are our sporting teams. They have a huge economic impact.
Oh yeah, losing the base is huge. It was I got my first duty station. I was in Groton, Connecticut, and it was this big campaign called Save Our Sub Base, and it was always talking about the base was going to close and was going to move, and It was always on a closure list, right? And people fought tooth and nail, and then it was at that young age. I was only like 18 or 19 at the time when I start to grasp the economical impact that a military base has on a local community. Because at the time, all I did was just stayed on base and just did what I needed to do. I don't really leave base like that, but I would leave base when I ordered food or when I got a haircut. I did this, whatever. You are supporting that local economy.
Sure.
But that comes back to my lack of economical understanding. Local, because you got national, then you got state, then you got local in your own community, your own government. Now, if you was an entrepreneur and I don't know, you were starting a business, would you join a chamber if you didn't even have a business yet? Would it be a good idea to try to find out a good business to start from a chamber?
Well, that's the great thing about our small business development centers in Colorado. So if you had an idea like, I love to golf and I'd like to open a business that has to do with golf, you can go to our small business development centers and you can work on a business plan and you can talk to them for free counseling and kind of go through ideas to decide, is that a good idea or not? We have so much data now to say like, okay, well, for instance, there's 7 other golf shops in this, 5-mile radius.
You might not
And
want
so we have a great system that helps people decide what kind of business they should open and go through all the business planning to get there. And that has a lot of financial literacy for business owners too, and connections to bankers. And so we have a lot of foundational departments that can help people that want to open a business.
Anything that you see right now on the economical literacy front that you can see as a potential issue in Colorado that you've noticed?
I mean, consumer debt, I think, is a big issue all over. And in Colorado is really high in credit card debt. And so it's even more important for us to help our children understand opportunity costs and debt and savings and compound interest. So I would say credit card debt is a big issue in Colorado. And then the cost of housing is a big issue. So we've had classes on like the housing policies and economics. So for people to understand how important it is to save for a down payment and get into a starter home, and that real estate can build wealth, and how to become an investor, maybe become a landlord and own several homes. So there's, I don't even remember your initial question, but I'm going back to
the problems
in Colorado. It's affordable housing and credit card debt, I think, are probably the top 2 I can think of.
Now I got to ask this question. Now we got to put the onus on the business too. How do you feel about wages?
Well,
Or do you see a correlation of, hey, you always seen this where they say, hey, inflation is outpacing wages. So, hey, businesses come in and let's say they offer, I don't know, like let's say fast food work, just for thinking, but the cost of living is just going up and up and up and up. So that upward pressure that people are feeling, they're getting that relief from a credit card. Like, hey, I'm working, I got a job, $15 an hour, and I need to do this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, hey, are we creating that? So how do you feel about that? Do you feel like businesses should have higher wages, but businesses saying, hey, in order to have higher, it's like a seesaw.
Yeah, it's a hard balance for business because I think employers want to pay well and pay competitively. And in Colorado with rising costs, I think that's a challenge. But then you get to a point where you're at the maximum employees you can have and it's hard to grow. So this is a balance. But you're right, if people can't afford to live here, they'll leave. Or like my college kids, if they can't afford to come back, they might not come back here and they might go to other states that are more affordable. Is cheaper.
Yeah.
And so I think then that will be hard for us to recruit new businesses to Colorado if we don't have the talent here. So we do have to pay well in all industry sectors. And so we just have to figure out a way to make it work.
You got a cycle going on because, we can't if we go to the business and say, hey, you need to pay well, pay more. And the business is going to say, well, I need more profit, but my profits are being crushed because of rising costs, right? And I need more customers. So now you're looking from the same customers that are not being paid well. So,
Right.
it's like if you're the Broncos and you're like, hey, I want to raise the price of the tickets, then now people that used to want to go to the game or want to go to the game or go check out a game, they have to pay even,
Right. Your consumer spending starts changing.
consumers,
Mm-hmm.
not consumers. You're like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, we want everybody to come to the game, but in order for me to better go to the game, I don't know if you go to sporting events like that, but they're not cheap.
Right. I mean, I will give up many, many nights out eating out so I can keep my CU tickets and see prime time. Take us to a national
Certain shit.
championship.
How do you, speaking of that, how do you feel about Buffalo?
The Buffaloes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love them. I didn't go to school there, but I'm paying tuition there for my son.
Please.
And my husband went there, and I am a
How do you feel about
big
last
fan.
season? How do you feel about last
You
season?
know what? It brought me hope for the first time in 2 decades. And I don't care that we didn't win them all,
Yeah.
but it gave me hope. And I just watched the special, Deion Sanders special documentary, and it gave me even more hope. Like, I feel like in a couple years, we're going to be there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, I expected the first year, like many people, but I'm willing to, I think,
I did.
3 years.
I didn't. I mean, to me, he did better than I expected the first year, because I knew what it was like the year prior and the years prior.
Oh, yeah.
So when he walked in, I didn't expect like, oh, now we're gonna go be Alabama or Georgia now, right? I expected like, okay, well, I mean, but he did a good job on definitely selling out tickets.
Right. And, a couple of years ago, my husband would say, like, hey, we have a game Saturday. And be like, can you take a friend?
Yeah.
And this year I was at every game and we got more tickets and I'm getting new sunglasses for next season.
You got the gold
I
sunglasses.
mean, yeah, I got a big new buffalo necklace.
Necklace,
on a
yep,
chain.
yep.
I'm ready.
Yeah, that's
I don't
what
feel equipped to be on a sports podcast with you, but
exactly.
I have hope.
Have hope.
And I love them.
Love him, yeah. So no, it was definitely especially those first 4 games, and I think the season took a turn when Travis Hunter got hurt. Mm-hmm. When he got hurt in last year, he was out for like 3 games.
Yeah.
And he never seemed like he really healed all the way. I think he kind of came back, but no, it definitely brought a lot of heat, attention. I went to 2 games last year. Yeah, I think I went to two or 3 games. I went to a
So
couple
much
games
fun.
last year.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would hope they're not all like at 10 a.m. or 8 p.m. because
Yeah, why do you always do
I don't like to be, eating a breakfast burrito at 7 a.m. in Boulder, or 8 p.m. and get home at 1 in the morning. But
Yeah, I was like
I'll
1
do
at
it.
12 o'clock at
I
night.
know.
I'm getting out of the game,
Yeah.
and you got to think about. I'm not even thinking about East Coast,
I know,
where it's 2 o'clock in the morning for them.
right?
I can't remember which game when they played. I think the in-state Colorado State.
Oh, yeah. And then you had to go to overtime.
And then they went to overtime, they
know.
went to this, and they finally won the game. It's like midnight, And now it's midnight. Now you're trying to get out of, by the time you get
Right.
back home, it's 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And to the rest of the world, they got to watch it on SportsCenter or ESPN the next morning. So, but yeah, I didn't
And
know
I'm
he
not
was a
sleeping
Buffalo
on
fan.
the couch at my son's house.
Oh, yeah. So you got to get back
I
home.
got to get all the way home.
And do you stay down in Denver or you stay in Castle Rock?
I live in Northwest Douglas County, so in Sterling Ranch,
Sterling Ranch. Okay.
west of Highland Ranch.
Nice. Okay.
It's a pretty easy commute to Boulder for a game, though.
It's about an hour.
Yeah,
45 minutes. Yeah, 45 minutes. Okay. So now looking at this, we spoke about the Chamber of Commerce, right? Your upbringing coming out of Castle Rock, things like that. What's that pasta place down there? It was a church.
Oh, it was
Old
the Old
church.
Stone Church, and now it's Scalapini's. I think
It's not the Old
Scalapini's.
Stone Church
It
anymore?
used to be the Old
Oh,
Stone
it's
Church.
the Italian spot, right? Every time I go to, usually I'm going to Colorado Springs, I always stop there and go for like the
Yeah.
fettuccine Alfredo.
Okay.
That's when you think about Castle Rock.
Yeah.
So.
I ate my fair share of fettuccine Alfredo when I was pregnant with the twins. So I don't.
Oh,
know that
you
I've
know,
had it
I'm gonna
yet.
do it again.
I haven't
Yeah.
had it in 20 years.
I was driving and somebody told me like, "Hey, you gotta stop it." And I tried. I was like, "Man, that's
good.
pretty good," So now, going forward into the world of like, what do you think? I look at people of like, Wall Street, right? Wall Street in New York. We're the financial hub of the world, right? For so long, why do you think now, in the last 5 years, you feel like this shift is kind of happening in financial literacy? Like, you know what, we need to teach kids, and we got 20 states now. We're at 24, I think, right? And here we go with Colorado, and Next Gen is coming in fighting for the registration, and I'm pretty sure it's going to eventually take off all the states. What took so long? Like, I thought this should have been like done, back in the 50s.
Yeah, I think that the way kids learn has changed so much, and that so many of the apps are available for families now that weren't there before. You can gamify any kind
Anything.
of concept for kids.
What's the thing called? Cujo, Yahoo? I forgot. It was something like that.
There's so
Yeah, go
many
ahead.
great ones. I mean, we had a new Moolah
Oh, New
at
Mulan, yeah.
our event, and then yesterday our Jumpstart Coalition with the Four Corners had a webinar with My First Nest Egg. That a lot of our banks and credit unions have great apps. So I think it's just brought an awareness to that kids can learn these concepts inside the school or outside the school with their families. There's just I think there's just a lot of attention on technology and finance, and we try and follow fintech as much as we can. But I mean, that's just the trajectory of fintech is going bananas, and the kids can get in on it. And I mean, think about like the Robin Hoods and kids that maybe never thought about investing before when they were in high school or thinking about it,
Now they got it on their phone.
right?
Now they know about Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and all that type of stuff.
Right.
From
And the way they move money is so different, and just
Cash App sent me over this.
there's so much Venmo going on in the house in Boulder my son lives in.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm buying everyone Taco Bell
He's
or what, but
You-
they are moving money in such a different way that generations before have done it. And so it's more important than ever they know about it.
Now looking back over this, is there any just a life question, right? You've been a wife, mother, CEO, Chamber of Commerce. You've seen a good bit in life. What is something that you would tell Amy in high school today?
Keep that first house you bought for $180,000.
You bought a house for $180,000.
Yes, our first house. And we saved 20%. And I wish we would have kept it, but shoulda, woulda, coulda. What I would tell future Amy,
And let me guess, what is the house worth today?
it just sold for $640,000. I know.
Same exact house.
Same exact house.
How much did you sell it for?
I think we sold it for $260.
And you was like, woohoo!
But get this,
260.
it took 9 months to sell.
Oh, it took. Also, the market wasn't. Let me guess.
It
The
was-
interest rates was probably a whole lot higher.
It was in 2009.
Oh,
And but anyway, I would say
So
that
okay.
old, young Amy would probably just, I would tell her, like, you don't have to have it all planned out. You just, like, gotta trust the journey, because a lot of kids in high school think they have to know what they want to do with their life. And we've seen, just in the year I've been at ELC, we've seen kids that have a passion and then learn about finance and then decide to major in finance and their passion. And so many things can change. There's so many forks in the road, and you don't have to know what I could have been a pharmacist. I never really wanted to be a pharmacist, but that's what I thought I was going to do for whatever reason. And so just trust the journey and learn new things. I mean, I'll tell you that being an empty nester, you have to really focus on learning new things. I painted a picture this month. I've never painted a picture ever. But,
Wow.
and, I joined a book club. You just try new things and follow your passions and always be involved in your community.
Be involved in your community. Don't try to have it all planned. Because let me guess, you would never have it all planned. Because as soon as you think you got the perfect plan, then this
You
happens
think
and
you're
that
having
happens.
one baby, and guess what? There's two in
It's
there.
true. That's true. You know what? And that's what my dad taught me. He just said, "Hey, son, he's like, looking back on life, I tried to make everything perfect. Didn't realize that was part of life of not having this perfect situation. Because it's like, soon as you get the kids together, then you got your spouse. And as soon as you get the kid and the spouse together, now you got your job or your career. It's always going to be something, just to prepare that something's always going to be there. And don't try to make it like, when things come out the blue or things change, just kind of go with the flow."
Right. And you can't say when I have this, I'll be happy, or when I have this, I'll be happy. So I've always worked really hard to be present and where I'm at and not be worried about like 10 steps ahead.
Because all it does is rob today's peace. Mm-hmm. You know, today you could have been enjoying life. That's one lesson I learned from my brother. I watch him, and he enjoys his fruits of his labor way more than I do. So that's something I try to take away from him, to where he's more the, hey, I'm going to enjoy life now. I don't even know what's going to happen in 5 or 10 years. So screw that. Where I'm more of a long term, like, hey, you know, sacrifice, wait till you get to this point. Then wait till you get to this point. Then wait till you get this point. Then unfortunately, you just might fall in the grave. Mm-hmm. You never know when this game is going to end,
right.
You know? So, but yeah.
And I do always want to have, like, we love to travel, and I always want to have a travel plan so I have something to look forward to. And I'm always saving for the next trip, even if I don't know what it is going to be, because that's important to me and my family. Happen. So I may not know where I'm going to go, but I know I'm going somewhere again. And so I'm always saving for that.
Now, looking into what I guess what would you say now, with the legislature that's on the horizon, that what does that process look like? Is that just going to be with Next Gen pushing the whole initiative, or do you got to have lobbyists? Do you got to have, how does that work?
You do have to have lobbyists, and you have to have a legislator that's willing to run the bill. So this year is a big year of us meeting with legislators and telling them about the work we do.
Are you looking for senators or councilmen?
It's all state level. So
it has to be a senator.
Be a state rep or a state senator. Yep. And so they can run 5 bills a session. And so we need to find someone this year that really wants to run the bill, and it's part of the, their 5, and then we can help them work on it. And so there is a definite process to passing
Amy,
legislation.
You need, so essentially what you need Prince to do is to go out and find a senator or a rep.
Mm-hmm. So every time you look up all of your elected officials and you give them a jingle and be like, do you think a graduation requirement is a good idea? And if they say no, then you say, let Amy and I want to sit down and have a cup of coffee.
Okay. So you need reps and senators.
We're looking for a bill sponsor, but we're willing to talk to anyone. And part of, my job over the last year was just to raise awareness about Economic Literacy Colorado around the state, since we're located in Denver, but we're a statewide organization. So I am going to Colorado Springs tomorrow, and I am on the Colorado Chamber, so I go to their legislative receptions, and people are always interested in this topic. So we just have to find somebody that really believes in it, and we'll run with it. And honestly, I have this wonderful group of kids, Financial Kids Colorado. They go to Northfield High School, and their goal is to pass a graduation requirement. But they also go into middle schools and talk to kids about financial literacy. They wrote a book that they have on their website.
Oh, nice.
So I have this great group of high school kids that could speak at committee hearings or speak to elected officials and tell them why it's so important to them. So they can hear it from us, but it's so great to hear it from parents and kids that think it's important too. So that's part of my coalition building, is including students and parents.
Okay. Well, maybe I could probably help out with, talk to some local reps and senators and things like that. The easiest way to catch them when they are running,
right,
or re-election time. That's probably the best way.
Right.
But that could definitely be a good topic, to see. So you don't have anybody right now? Nobody's willing to do that?
Well, we're doing a lot of conversations right now.
That should definitely. I mean, what's so hard about putting up a bill?
Well, I think we were just, once we started getting going in Colorado, it should have been like summertime, and we started working on it in the fall. So now we're ahead of the 25 legislative session. This session would have been too short of a time period. All our legislators are already thinking of their bills 6 months ahead. So the timing's right for moving forward in 2025. And so we're just doing a lot of conversations. And
so they already had enough on the table. They couldn't take on anything. Now they're saying, hey, we got the room.
Right.
Got it. You know,
Yeah.
somebody who taught me a lot about that. I went down. I spent some time with Dave Young,
Mm-hmm.
and he was teaching me about like, hey, this is how this whole thing. You got to do this, and so I never even thought about. I mean, you heard about it and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, but being down there and seeing how things work and run, and at the state level, you're like, man, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But hey, you got to have this. You got consultants that help you with the bills and
Mm-hmm.
that lobby. It was crazy.
It's a big deal. And another good thing about chambers of commerce is they always have a day at the Capitol where you can go learn about the process of passing
Mm.
legislation. And then you get to go to committee hearings or meet your own elected officials. So, uh, chamber presidents usually are very close to the elected officials in their community and can help all of the citizens know more about the process, and they can go down to the Capitol, and there's a big Chamber of Commerce Day every
Mm.
year. Like, and I'm going to Credit Union Day at the Capitol in a couple weeks. And so there's a lot of great activities at the Capitol during the session to join and learn more.
Okay. Well, anything that you want to tell us, you know, and you
Yes,
know what?
yes.
Hold on. You know what? We didn't get
Hmm.
onto this. The topics that you have.
Hmm.
Also, how is Economical Literacy Colorado a resource to someone who maybe not be a school teacher? Because you have a lot of
Hmm.
resources. A lot of people reach out to you and give you things.
Absolutely. That's why I have some props today.
Yeah.
We have these great financial books, and we have them in their Belco Credit Union is our sponsor of them.
Oh,
We have
nice,
an
nice.
elementary
Okay.
school one, a middle school one, and a high school one that they have at Belco locations. But we also will mail to any family, any teacher, any school.
Can you show me that? Can
Yeah.
you show it to
And
them?
so
Okay.
this one is elementary students. And so it gives you some concepts about, things that are at their grade level, needs versus wants. So little
Mm-hmm.
games they can play. And so we'll mail these out to anyone that wants them. And they're all at the right level of education. So we have those for families. And then we also, some of the classes I wanted to tell you about for teachers, like
Okay.
this is a fun one. Taylor Swift economics.
Taylor Swift
Because
economics. What did?
did you see the study of the economic impact that Denver had when Taylor Swift came to town?
Oh, she had a
I mean,
concert.
it's incredible. So we do things that are relevant so that teachers can come to our class and then go back to the classroom and kids care. Like, who doesn't care about Taylor Swift right now,
Yeah, sure,
right?
sure.
I mean, did you see her at the Chiefs game the other
Yeah,
night?
I know, right?
We don't talk about Chiefs too much around here,
I know,
but
right?
the paradox of thrifting, and just we have these great classes, and then we have these fun contests that we do all year round. This is an elementary school contest where they color pictures and have concepts like all about economics, and so then each month this is imports and exports, and so you can learn a little something, and then the winners get money, and we have scholarships for young economic kids that are going to study economics in college. We have scholarship opportunities. We have a teacher award every year. So
Mm-hmm.
we have something for
Everybody.
parents, teachers, and families.
Now, how can people get some of this stuff? Like, all the stuff that you have, like here that you did with Belco, the three different levels, right? How can people get a hold of that?
Well, econlitco.org is our website, and that will give you an easy way to access all of these materials. You can email us, find us on all the social channels, and we're happy to mail you any of these. We can drop them off if you're local. So,
Now, is there a
yeah.
limit on how many you can get?
It depends on how, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we can make more. We can.
You know what? Those
We
might
we
those
want
might
them to
be
be
good.
in the hands of everyone. Yep.
These might be good stuffers for the book launch.
Absolutely. I'm happy to get you some.
Yeah, because we definitely want to give out as many tools as possible with what we're doing to say, hey, okay.
Yeah.
So
One
the
program I really wanted
Mhm.
to talk about for
Go
a
ahead,
brief
go ahead.
minute is our Invest in Girls program, which is new the last couple of years.
Yes.
And this is for 10th through 12th grade girls
Hmm.
around Colorado to take a 7-week course about being the CFO of your life, the CIO, the CEO. It's all online. You can take it at your own pace, or it's like 7 different weeks of information. And then you can come on our industry tours where we take the girls into the private sector to learn about jobs and finance. So we just think girls are underrepresented in financial industry, and we want them to know that you can major in finance and work in any industry. You don't have to be a CPA or bookkeeper or bank teller, but we've been to Ball Arena to learn about sports and finance. We've been to Denver International Airport to learn about aviation and finance, and we have many planned for this year for high school girls to attend. And then we have day-long symposiums in the summertime for girls to attend where they can learn about business planning and learn from a panel of women in different finance jobs. And so that's been really growing, and we just keep kind of doubling our numbers with the girls that want to get involved.
Because you guys did some of the airport, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, what was that about? Tell us
So
about that.
we toured the airport. We had girls from rural Colorado, like Burlington and Strasburg, ride in on the bus for the day. And we toured the airport. We learned about the business aspects of having an airport in your community. And then everyone that had a kind of a finance job within the airport talked about what their roles and responsibilities were. And then we also met with the contractors doing the construction at the airport and learned about jobs in construction and finance. And not only did I learn a lot, but the girls were like, oh, so I could do both. I have a passion in aviation, but also like math and finance. I can combine those things and have a great job. And I'm like, yes, you can have a job anywhere in any business if you major in finance. So,
Wow.
so yeah, it's really, and I'm really passionate about girls and finance in general. And instead of maybe just spending all your money at Lululemon, how about you invest in Lululemon? And they're not paying me to say that. I just said Lululemon. I don't even own a pair of Lululemon, but it was just an example of like, girls spend a lot of money on beauty products and fashion, and maybe they should learn about investing in some of those companies.
Now, you got to invest in girls. You have the Belco program here from all three of those. What else? And you got the calendar.
We have our
the calendar's open for anybody?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I got to get one of those, especially for Westland.
Yes. And right there you go, right there.
Look at that.
And we have a stock market experience.
Oh, stock market experience. Okay.
And that is in any school that wants to sign up, any semester, grade 3 through 12 community. And they help mentor the teacher and do some lessons. But the group of kids in the team get a pretend $100,000 and learn about investing and invest it. And then they get prizes for
how long
each grade level.
Can they pick the length, or is there a set length?
It's just a semester long.
Just a semester long. I'm
Yeah.
sorry about that.
So we don't focus on the like short term gains. We want to live like the long term gains.
And they're day trading every day, like, oh, this number is.
Yeah. But we've had 12,000 kids a year go through that program, and so that's great. So wouldn't it be cool if then they open an account somewhere with real money?
They're not doing that.
I know. Some probably are.
Some sponsors are not coming in taking care of that. Like, hey, if your team wins, you guys get.
Right. Instead of a donut party, they should get an account.
Yeah. And because I want it to be tangible. Because going back to what you said about that, prop your feet up would make you the happiest. It's like, hey, somebody come to you at a picnic somewhere and like, hey, I remember you. You know, thank you because I won S&P 500. I won whatever. And that started my investing journey. And now this compounded and turned into this. And my mom and dad put more money into it. And now I'm here. Right. That's what I think would be cool and that people should shoot for. Instead of the sky, you know, I definitely like if you win, you should say, hey, you know, since you guys won, you know, of course, I don't know who will fund it. Like every kid could get stock, but that's what I think.
Right.
You know,
yeah,
give
it's a
that's
good goal.
to it.
Yeah. I agree.
And to make it like, hey, you played on the market and you learned about investing, and now that you guys won, now you have something that's going to be attached to you for the rest of your life.
Right.
You know, so because it works because I don't know how many times I've seen kids or parents or somebody come along, hey, I remember you came to my school and I won this and I read your, I'm like, I don't remember because I see so many kids sometimes. But just to see that impact last just past a day.
Right.
Like, hey, this day, you're talking about years, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years down the line.
I
There's
think
so much
there's a,
happen
I
about
think
it.
this is more about dogs, but kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
to your dog, you're the only person in their world, but,
Oh, yeah.
but, you know, they're one of your however many dogs or however many people
Mm-hmm.
you interact with in a day. So you got to remember that's why your dog is so excited to see you when you come home. But if you think about like how many kids you come across, you are making a big impact on a couple of those kids and you don't even know it, but they're going to remember you forever and remember like that one guy that came to my class and taught me this something that changed my life. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're changing lives and
Yeah.
you just may not know that specific story, but you are.
Yeah, you don't. I guess on social media you see numbers, or you see here, you go in and you see the kid, and you congratulate them, you move on, and you just you're on to the next one. Then you go to, it's like for prime example, we do the book launch here in Denver. Then we're going to DC, then Georgia, right? And you'll see kids at all those locations. You'll see people at all those locations. But then sometimes you go back and it's like, hey, I remember you from 3 years ago. This child is, like somebody sent me a picture. This kid made a video, I don't know, years ago with my first book. And her dad sent me the video, and this not a picture of her. And this girl's like in college. I was like, that was a little kid that was like,
They grow up fast, don't they?
fast, and like, this was the little. He's like, yeah, she's graduated high school, and now she's off to. I'm like, get out of here.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm reading a book right now with the author that came to my junior high and talked about a book he wrote then. And I just remembered it
From
so
that,
deeply in junior high. And I've always read his books. And it was just like he came to my junior high English class to talk about his book. And I'm reading his new
wow.
book. I mean, he's made a big impact. He doesn't know who I am, but
And he
I've read
just
them all.
came, talked.
Yeah.
He continues to write, and you just like remembered and like, oh, I remember that guy. He came to my class. Oh man, that's crazy. When I
Yeah.
see that happen, I met some kids who knew my storylines better than I did. I'm like, oh yeah, that was because it's been 9 years, 8, 10. By the time you publish, it may take a year or two. 'Cause, to me, how it works with me, something to sit in my head for a while,
Right.
and then I eventually say, hey, I'm going to do this. When I do it, then I got to make it make sense and go through so many chops and edits. Then once you do that, you got to make it look right. You got to market it right. Then you got to take it to the market. Maybe years, maybe a year or 2 years before you actually get it done. But and you're on
And a
to the
good
next
story,
thing.
you gave me your book on insurance, and I had it sitting out, and at my cabin in the winter over Christmas
wow.
break, I totally saw my son pick it up and like flip through it, and I know he learned something.
That's crazy, crazy. To think about like, hey, you go out and you do things, and you'll see sales numbers or you'll see viewers and you don't realize like how that viewer, that subscriber is a real
Yep,
person.
he just picked it up, like
Oh,
probably things he didn't want to admit he didn't know
yeah, like
at 18 or whatever.
yeah,
but
like hey, a kid's book. Yeah,
that's how my car insurance gets paid.
that's not exactly. Yep, exactly. So, but yeah, that was and I tell people I don't do what's popular. I do what I think is important. What I think is, hey, this is important. Do what I think is important to do what you wish somebody had done to you. I wish somebody would have came to my class and talked to my parents and started me on the investing route when I was, I don't know, 5 years old. Didn't even know what was going on. But as those kids, and that's the time we grow the fastest. Those first 12, 13, 14 years, we don't experience that type of growth no other period in our life.
Right.
So that 5 year span is a lot changes, 5 or 6 years. Whereas an adult, you just kind of like going about your day. You don't realize that, hey, it's been 5 years and 6 years of this kid that you came to, because it's been 5 years since I published my last book.
That's awesome.
So,
And when you're back,
and I'm back
you
now.
got a lunch.
And you look at and some of those kids now
Yeah.
some of them graduated and some of them now adults. Some of them have kids.
Right.
They're like, hey, you remember? I'm like, you was a kid at the Boys and Girls Club. Now you're a grown person. So
I think
lot
of your
changes.
books and some of the student
Oh, yeah.
things we have One of my staff members likes to say, we're putting the veggies in the mac and cheese and they don't even know
The-
it.
putting the veggies in the mac and cheese. I like that. And that's it. It's taking these adult topics and breaking it down to kids at the
Right.
youngest age possible. It's the biggest thing that I shoot for. So, so you got to invest in girls. That's focused just on girls. You also have, the calendar, which
Yep.
I want to take this one home today and take this one to Wesley.
Yeah.
You got the calendar. Who made these calendars? How did y'all get this?
So we have submissions from hundreds of kids around the state, and then we go through them and we pick the winners for each month. And then Go West is the Credit Union Association, and they sponsored it this year. So they have a little tidbit about credit unions on each page, and then there's the drawings of the economic concepts
And so
it's
kids are
fun.
growing these throughout the state, and they
Yeah.
enter them, and somebody wins every month.
Yeah. Well, they win. They all win at one time. So, like, you've been selected to win, and here's your prize, and you're going to be in our calendar. So, yeah. And we send them out to all our donors, and like we're taking a whole bunch of these to the credit union day at the Capitol to give out to legislators, and
Okay.
yeah. So we have a good mix of student programs, teacher programs, and then we have signature events that you've been to.
Yeah.
This year we're doing our Invest in Girls luncheon in the spring, a Brews and Views networking event in the summer, and then a Focus on Finance luncheon this year in October. So we have 3 big events, and we'd love to have new attendees and new people and interested in us, and they can always learn more on our website.
Okay. Well, definitely, Economical Literacy Colorado, Amy, you to chair the Jumpstart Coalition.
Yes, you'll
The
be
coalition.
there, I bet.
Yeah, definitely. Being part of the Jumpstart Coalition, meeting everybody, seeing all the people out there who want to join the Jumpstart Coalition, people want to learn about Economical Literacy Colorado. We got a chance to learn more about you, Amy, where you came from, how so you're a hometown girl.
I am a Colorado native.
Colorado native, hometown girl, stayed here, and wow, and this, you know what? That's another thing I want to hit too. When you're in a part of the chamber like that for so long, you get to know some of everybody.
So many people. I
Or
know.
you're not that far connected from people too. That's the beautiful part about the chamber. Of like, hey, if you just show up to a lot of places, you'll meet a lot of people, or you'll be connected to a lot of people, and that's the
And those are all those professional services where you build trust. I mean, that's where I found my banking relationships, my insurance relationships, my estate planning lawyer, like all of those folks I met through the chamber. And so, you can trust them and you get to know them as people. So I just, I love the networking and community building in Colorado chambers specifically.
Nice. Now, if somebody's out here, I got to ask this question: which one should they join? Aurora, Denver, Colorado, all 3?
There's so many. I would probably shout out Aurora Chambers doing an awesome job.
Yeah.
Arvada Chambers doing an awesome job.
Nevada,
Arvada.
Okay.
Yep. And Castle Rock Chamber. I mean, those are a couple of my 3 faves right now. Of course, we're a member of the Denver Chamber and Colorado Springs Chamber. Those are great groups for us to network within. And of course, the Colorado Chamber too. So,
Of course,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
You can't compete with that one like it's a Colorado.
Yeah, that's Colorado, but they do great things. Well, they have a really fun event called The Coolest Things Made in Colorado, where you can nominate whatever you think is one of the coolest things made here. And I mean, it goes from like Artemis rockets from Lockheed Martin to like sheets that don't wad up in the dryer to chocolate made with lavender from Paonia. And there's just so many cool things. So that's what I did my Christmas list off of the coolest things made in Colorado to buy for people this year. Because that's just a fun one too, just to buy local.
But that's true. Local. Okay. Well, definitely. Amy, is there anything that we left out?
I just really appreciate the time that you've spent with me and the year we've spent getting to know each other. You're doing amazing work and I'm just proud to know you.
No, definitely. Debbie connected us, when she was when she told everybody she was leaving. And definitely glad to connect with you. And, and bringing in a resources like Nancy, when Nancy was in when I was in the consulting world, when I was getting ready to retire from the military, and she told me about an idea with the girls and stuff. I said, hey, you know what? Let me, and introducing her there. So it's been great to be in the ecosystem
Yes.
and the space, to meet other people. I know I can't make it everything and go and be as active as everything I like to do. Like I told you, I said, hey, people, like some people say, hey, well, you need to be, you should put more video content. I'm like, yeah, I would love to, but sometimes, getting down here, parking, getting in the studio, getting the time schedule, and then having your own business. Then you already know what it is with a foundation. You got so many meetings, phone calls, coming up with things, writing the books. And I tell people all the time, the hardest books to write are children's books.
Right. Yes.
I tell people, I'm like, it seems simple. I'm like, hey, when you write, let's say a novel or something like that, then, it's off to the printing press. But, when children's books, you need like 15, 20, 30, 40 animations and this animation, that along, that this person say this and stuff like that. So, but one of the things that we're doing too with this book is we're working on the animation, right? And this animation is going to go and coincide with the book to where kids are going to be able to scan it and, go off to animation. And it's really to tackle special need children.
Oh, okay. That's
because Wesley has autism. He's an autistic kid. So they have a hard time reading, or they might be dyslexic, but they spend all their time on the phone and they pick up a whole bunch of stuff off of YouTube and all the stuff like that. So we're like, hey, there are kids who may struggle with reading, but they can see something and hear something and know the concepts or pick up on concepts. So maybe a kid was dyslexic, or they may have, a learning disability or whatever. Are we really tackling them? Because they're going to fall into the same thing,
right?
Are they getting these topics, learn, talk to it? So that's something different that we're looking at doing this time around.
Cool.
Of like, hey, let's animate it to tackle where a kid can watch this books series, not series, but that book in like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and like, oh, I got the basis of that conversation.
I love that.
So now, of course, I would love to have my animations look like Dragon Ball Z or something, but due to budget restraints, you got to work with what you can get. But at least, that's our stab at it, to say, hey, what if we can animate this to make it look like, to go along with this book where kids can, follow along with it. So we're looking to partner with some special need foundations that are out there because we had that happen, the Autism Foundation reached out to us and was like, hey, do y'all do this? And we were like, you know what? We actually don't. I said, well, at first we were like, well, you can read it to them and the parents can read it to them. And maybe we got audio books, but we're like, what if we can create some type of visual where they're kind of talking at least through it and the kid can watch that and participate in the book club.
Yeah.
So that's another little thing that we're doing. Like, hey, kids out there who may be, who may be a little delayed or have difficulties, maybe reading and comprehending something like this. But if they could watch it, it tackles a different, whole nother sensor that they may be able to comprehend.
Lots of learning styles out there.
Because a lot of them love to play video games.
That's right.
So, but yeah. But
Very
anyway,
cool.
no, definitely thank you for coming in. Thank you for taking the time, sharing out your resources. I always love to talk to people in the, it's a financial literacy business show where we love to talk to resources and talk to people about what's out there, what resources they have. I didn't even know. We get to know each other. I didn't even know about the calendar to hang up and to say, oh, this would be a good thing. And even with what you're doing with Belco, right?
Absolutely.
So definitely glad to have you on. Definitely got to have you back on in the future.
Fun.
And is there anything you want to say to anybody?
No, I just appreciate you.
Hey, what if people want to get in contact with you? How do they do that?
econletco.org is our website, and you can find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and X.
Oh, you said
formerly known as Twitter.
It's formerly known as Twitter, right?
I was trying to do it right.
I definitely didn't. I'm not crazy on Twitter. I just could never get into Twitter. So, but yeah, definitely. All right.
Thank you so much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, until the next video, podcast, cartoon, book, or whatever else crazy you see me doing around the globe. My name is Prince Dykes. This is the Investor Show. Peace, be safe. I'm out, and thank you.